Let's talk about the Yamaha DXR10 Mark II. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that I own the DBR10s, and well, I thought they were okay speakers. They're definitely, you know, the cheap speaker in the range, and I just wanted something a little more high-end, so I wanted to get the DXR10s, but then I noticed that the DXR10 Mark II was coming out, and I didn't want to buy something and you know, have it be the old version right after I bought it. These are, MAP is $100 more on these. I guess I wasn't watching prices. I don't know if the DXR10 was always, you know, what would be $100 cheaper than these, or if MAP got brought down when these were coming out. But anyways, I thought I'd do an unboxing video and maybe take a listen to them and kind of edit in a first thoughts at the end. I just have my camera microphone, so I don't really have the ability to record right now and have a good recording for people at home to listen to. But I'm also not a huge fan of, hey, listen to these speakers over your computer speakers. Speakers are definitely better to be listened to in person. So if you ever really want to hear what a speaker sounds like before you buy it, find some place to get a real demo. Don't go off of recorded YouTube videos. Although I have done that quite a bit with kick drum mics, listening to the different ones. Alright, so I don't usually do unboxing videos, but I feel like everybody usually goes over what's in it. Piece of cardboard. Manuals. IEC cord. Now one bummer, I see they did not do the locking IEC. It's just a standard IEC cord. Would have been nice if they would have put the locking IEC cord in. I'm definitely, my preference is PowerCon. I feel like everybody is switching over to PowerCon slowly, and I would definitely prefer PowerCon. But I do think, you know, a lot of people said when they saw this one coming out that it really wasn't much of an upgrade. A lot of people were like, why waste the money on the Mark II when the only real difference is a different compression driver, a larger compression driver. But I guess I didn't talk to anybody at Yamaha when I was at Infocom about these, but from what I've heard online is obviously a larger compression driver that weighs less, so the overall weight of the box is less. The 10-inch speaker is still the same speaker. Nexo helped revoice the box, and I think with the larger compression driver and a little bit different EQing, they managed to eke out like 1 more decibel. So that is really it. I don't know if you guys can see the whole thing. I'll probably bring it a little closer and try to do some close-ups. Actually, maybe just lower the camera a bit. There we go. I left my garage bay open. Hopefully it's not washing out the video too badly here. So obviously it's 1100 watt cabinet, 132 decibels. It is 48-bit processing. 1.75 inch compression driver. And yeah, Fur-X tuning, which seems like everybody's doing fur filters nowadays. I will say, you know, so it's fan cooled. they've got 3 ins, which is nice. 1 mic line, 1 dual quarter, and then RCA. I do like that they did RCAs instead of just a headphone jack. I'm not a huge fan of just a headphone jack. I kind of would have preferred another XLR instead of dual quarters, but I think it's usable. One thing I always wonder when they do this, I would assume these are just TS input jacks, not TRS. I would imagine it's probably not going to say in the manual, but I'll probably look for that. High pass filter does either off, 100 or 120, and then of course they've got the decontour, which you can put it in monitor mode, front of house main mode, or off is just a generic EQing. I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of a push button on off. I kind of like rocker switches a little bit more, but I guess we'll roll with it. And I think that's where I'm going to end this portion of the video. I'm going to set this up, do a little bit of listening. One of my buddies dropped off his SQ5 for me to try out, so I'm going to hook this up to an SQ5 and see what it sounds like. Be back in a minute. Okay, so I had a chance to listen to a couple of songs through it. My initial thoughts on it, well, first my initial thoughts was, man, this thing's lacking bass. And then I realized I had the left high pass filter on 120. Once I flipped that down, of course I had more bass. But my first thoughts on it, I almost wish I still had my DBR10s just to kind of go back and forth and compare the two. Because I sold my DBR10s probably a couple months ago now. So the sound of them isn't like super fresh in my head. But I do think the compression driver is definitely better. I always feel like my ears get like high frequency sensitivity. Like a cheap, poor sounding compression driver can really messes with my ears. Like my ears do not like them. So I like nice, crisp, good sounding highs. And I feel like the compression driver in this is definitely better. I only hooked one up. I didn't unbox the other one and hook that up. So, I didn't see what the sound was with both of them yet. I'm gonna wait for an event for that. I don't know for sure if I would do like a music event with these without a sub. Like I bought them to use with the DXS10 Mark II, so I plan on always having at least one sub under the table, maybe 2 pole mounted. But they've got pretty decent sound. They'd be good for background music for sure. You maybe could do like a small wedding with them. I think you would probably be hoping for more bass. Not to say that it's a 10-inch speaker, so you can't expect too crazy a bass out of them. But with that being said, if you look at the DZR10s, which I was going back and forth, like should I just drop the money on the DZR10s and just go for the full high end of the range? But my plan was to use them with the DXS10 Mark IIs, and they kind of made this one to pair with that sub, so I thought, I might as well just go with that. And then when I hit the DZR, I have the DXS 18 XLFs, so I'll buy bigger speakers that pair with those. One thing I will say, so I did point out, initially, I'll say when I initially turned this on, I cranked it up, and I didn't use the SQ5 like I said I was going to. I got a little lazy. I haven't used one before, so I didn't want to be messing around with that for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to use it. So I just plugged my iPad up to the RCA inputs, and I usually just always have my iPad on full volume when I aux into something, and it's really weird. Like I turned it up to like -8, and it was super duper loud. Like I stood in front of it and I was like, dang, these things are screaming. and then I came back here and looked, and my limit light was flashing just a little bit. So, you know, I ended up turning it down a hair, and it got quite a bit quieter, just moving it a little bit. But lightly flashing limit light definitely isn't the end of the world. And when you go slightly into limiting, I mean, these things are friggin' loud. But when you do turn it down to where you're not limiting, I read somewhere they use multi-band compression, I think. So as you go louder, certain frequencies will start to compress. So I would imagine as you go into limiting, there's probably certain frequency banks that start to compress to keep the loudness there and to obviously protect your speakers, but it's also going to modify the sound a little bit. So when I took it out of limiting, you know, there definitely was a little bit of change in the sound, I thought. But keep in mind, I only went through these with a couple songs so far. I'm going to use them next week. I've got a rental where a DJ is going to be using them, and I know the DJ, and I'm doing setup and teardown for him. So I'm actually going to bring these two and then two of the subs and just kind of see how it fully sounds as a system. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to throw it down in the comments section. I probably don't have a whole lot of answers right away. You won't see another video on this speaker for probably a good month. I like to get out and use a product quite a bit before I really develop an opinion on it. And I'd like to get into some bigger rooms, you know, get them. I was listening to it just on here, so the compression driver was really like straight in my face. And it wasn't that bad being straight in the face, but I do like it up above my head, so you don't just have a compression driver screaming right at you. So things might change once I have them set up properly and in a bigger venue, not in my shop bay. But until next time, have a good day. And you'll have to wait patiently about a month before you hear about this again.